What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon. MLB DFS video for Tuesday, May 7th. We are back. If you've never been here before, hopefully you're in for a treat. If you are new to the channel, giving the channel love, clicking on the ads, every little bit helps. I understand they're annoying, but it does help out the channel. We bring you a ton of content. If you've never been here before, watch this video through all the way. I know they're longer, but they're more in-depth than other DFS providers. So other ones are going to give you like 5 plays and that's it. And if that's what you're looking for, while this video pretty much isn't that, in the description of the video is the article for today, which is right here, which we have the players that we like. So a handful of pitchers and about 5 plays at each position that we like. If you need a little bit more help on top of that, we do have FTA Plus. You can check that out and sign up. A monthly pass for any sport that we currently offer. We're going to throw in a weekly pass as well. I got to build that out on the website, which hopefully maybe I've got that built out by now. So go check that out. That will give you everything you need. We're thinking about bringing back MMA this weekend. We will see how it goes. If that's something you're interested in, hit that like button. We do have giveaways every single day. 2 ways to win every single day. Like the video, be a subscriber, and leave a comment. If this video gets at least 50 likes, you have a chance to win a free week of FTA Plus. 100 likes is a free month. 150 likes is a $200 free year. And if our video gets 200 or more likes, you have a chance to win a $500 lifetime pass. On top of that, the second way to win. In the comments below, tell me who you think is going to hit a home run and what inning they're going to hit it in. I need both of those. I need the player and the inning. If you get both of those correct on any given day, take a screenshot of your comment on this video and then email me dfshelp1@gmail.com with your username on YouTube here and a username and email you would like on our website if you don't already have one, and we will get you set up for a free week of FTA Plus. I need both of those, the player and the inning. You got to have both of those to be entered into the contest. So 2 ways to win every single day. So this is a weird Tuesday slate because it's split up a little bit more than what we're used to. We've got one early game, the Rangers at the Athletics. As of now, we don't know who's going to be pitching because it's going to be whoever is taking over for Nate Eovaldi because he's obviously on the IL now, and they're waiting to see who it's going to be called up to pitch, or maybe it's a bullpen game. We're still waiting to see. We can't even play this game anyway unless you play like the single game, and honestly, looking at that, the single game basically would be whoever the Texas pitcher is, and then the majority of Texas bats. Obviously, you need a couple of plays. Let's say if you're playing like a showdown. You need a couple of plays for the A's, or at least one play for the A's to go against that pitcher. Since we don't know who's pitching, we kind of have to wait on that. So that being said, towards the end of this video, so I forgot to mention, in the background, every single day we run simulations. So you can see right here, under the MLB tab, we have player projections, we have simulation models. So under the simulations, we run 20,000 a day with our models, and we give you those plays. So in the morning, we usually post the top plays at each position, or for batters and pitchers, after 10,000 simulations. And then about an hour or 2 before first pitch, we do 20,000 simulations and update that. Some days they change, some days they don't. So at the end of this video, we are going to give you the top 20 bats after 10,000 simulations. Also, thinking about doing something new too. I'm going to do the pitchers as well. Let me know if you guys like it, and we'll continue to do that too. We also have sports betting on the website, so you can check that out. We are going to take a pause on NBA. I think we're going to come back next season. 2-game slate, breaking it down. It's a lot of work for only 2 games, and then some days there are 1 game. So we're probably going to just focus on MLB, PGA, NASCAR, and I think I'm going to replace NBA with MMA. Probably not have a video for MMA because I can't pronounce half of the names. That's on me. But that is the plan we will see moving forward. So let's dig into this slate. We've got early slate, and then we've got a main slate of 8 games. So for early, we've got Tigers at Cleveland. You got Kenta Maeda versus Logan Allen. Maeda, 65 plate appearances, a 281 batting average against him. Logan Allen, 18 plate appearances, 250. So not a ton. Just kind of curious. Some people like BVP, some people don't. We'll look into that just a little bit because, like I said, in these videos, we go in depth. We go into the pitchers, but we also go into the bats. So J-Ram, only 2 for 16, does have a home run there. I do like him better when he's on the left side. So when he's a switch hitter, when he's batting from the left, I do like him better. Again, though, some people like BVP, some people don't. If you are one, it's a 125 batting average. You got Austin Hedges, 4 for 10 with a double. Josh Naylor, 3 for 13 with 2 doubles. That's 231. That's not a lot. You've got Bo Naylor, 1 for 2 with a home run. So not a ton. I mean, the numbers are a little skewed because you do have a 500 batting average here. 2 for 2, so that's 1,000, so that bumps it up, and then a 400. So outside of the top 3 players, they really haven't like seen him much. So we look at that, and I don't mind looking. I don't trust Kenta Maeda. I would rather take Cleveland bats here. So if we are looking at bats that we want to take, we could be looking, and we will look at these bats here. Josh Naylor, I would take. He's on fire this season. I know he doesn't have the best BVP along with J-Ram, but those two I would take. Tyler Freeman, Bo Naylor would be another one I'd look at. Will Brennan could be one. He's got a lot of red. So if you're new to the channel, the website on the screen right now is Baseball Savant. You can dig in. There are a ton of just stats, breakdowns, visuals that you can use. I want to be able to use it and give it to you guys, but the videos would be 3 hours long. I don't think many of you would watch them. So I'm trying to think of a way to use those visuals, but we'll see. I mean, maybe we put it in the write-up on the article, so we only do the handful of players, the handful of pitchers that we look at, and stuff like that. Maybe I'll think about that. So again, please, not only watching these videos, but if you click on the link in the description for the article, that helps generate traffic to the channel and to the website. And I have a sponsorship possibility. They need to see that the views are sustainable. It could be lucrative, and it would be awesome if you guys could help me out there. So the more views the website gets, the more clicks these videos get. They help out immensely as well. So you could look at a little Andres Jimenez, maybe. Austin Hedges, he does have, some exposure here, but I don't know if he's going to be in there. So he would be a very cheap option at catcher who has had mild success against Kenta Maeda. Now, Logan Allen, on the other hand, honestly haven't really seen much. I don't know what to expect out of him. The Tigers, they confuse me. Their offense confuses me. Sometimes they put up runs, then the majority they don't. You've got Javi Baez, who strikes out like he's an automatic almost 3 to 4 strikeout guy a game, which if you can see, let's say Logan Allen has an over-under 5.5 strikeouts. He could strike out Javi like 3 times and already be halfway there. So if we're not going with Logan Allen, which I do like him early for tournaments, Matt Vierling, Riley Green. I do love Mark Canha against lefties. Big Mark Canha guy against lefties. Spencer Torkelson normally against lefties really hasn't done much. He hasn't jumped out to the next level that we would like we thought he would be. Still, obviously young, can do stuff with that. So I'll have a little bit of exposure to the Tigers bats, but I think I'd rather look at Logan Allen tournament wise, not cash. I don't trust him that much, but he is an option there. I don't think I'll have any exposure to Kenta Maeda. I just don't trust him enough. We got Arizona at Cincinnati Reds. You got Zach Gallen versus Frankie Montas. So Montas coming back off the IL. Zach Gallen, normally I would love to use him. I am a little bit scared in this ballpark. This is called Great American Small Park for a reason. The ball absolutely flies out of there. If you want to see what I'm talking about, go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, MLB tab, and go down to ballpark ratings. So every single ballpark that is in play for this slate today will have updated from, usually we update it normally like 8 a.m. Central from any games that were played yesterday. All of it is updated to give you the rankings of slugging rankings, home run rankings, runs rankings. So you can see not only does this stadium have this amount of runs, you can see the weather, you can see the opposing pitchers, and that helps you out. On top of that, on our cheat sheet, we have a little weather tab. It'll tell you the weather there, and then it gives pitcher and batting ratings there too. So you can take both of those combined, along with everything else. This is how we have made better DFS players. We had one of our subscribers to the YouTube page and our Discord. He won $25,000, I think, last week, which was awesome. And I've had people win a lot of money and ask if they could tip me. And that is completely okay as well. If that is a route you want to go, you can always email me, dfshelp1@gmail.com, or hit us up in our Discord, which the link is down below, and I can give you any information. Not expected. It is greatly appreciated, but I am here to make you a better DFS player by making this the one and only DFS spot that you need to come to, hopefully every single day. Obviously, life comes in. I'm having my second kid in August, so there might be a couple of days where, I'm not able to do videos or really do content. I will keep you guys updated when that day does come and you guys have a subscription and maybe I can't get the content out X amount of days, I will add those days to the end of your subscription. So I hope you understand that. But that being said, this ballpark scares me. Zach Gallen is good. We know that Zach Gallen is good. And I'm just kind of looking at this. I think he's only a tournament pick for me because, again, for whatever reason, this ballpark loves to give up some home runs, and this Cincy team, they can hit home runs when they need to. Arizona normally can too. On the flip side, Frankie Montas, only 24 plate appearances against this Arizona team, coming off the IL. Not really sure how deep he will go into this game. That is the problem, what we see here. So we look at this. If we're not going Montas and we are going with Diamondback bats, Ketel Marte at the top, Jock Peterson against a righty, Christian Walker, usually like to use him more against lefties, but I'm okay with him. He's killing it. Gabriel Moreno, probably a tournament-only option. It's wild to me that Corbin Carroll has sophomore slump, fallen off. I don't know. But looking at that, the other plays, Eugenio Suarez coming back to his old stomping grounds, I could see a revenge game there. You could look at that. If you don't want to go with Corbin Carroll, you can go with Jake McCarthy, being a cheaper Cincinnati bat there, if you're making a Cincinnati stack. There's always Randall Grichuk, more so against lefties. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., more against lefties, but he's good in my book in this ballpark. A cheap one would be Blaze Alexander in this lineup, if you are, in fact, going with a Diamondback stack. If you think the Reds are going to have a good game because the ballpark, and Zach Gallen, maybe he doesn't, bring it. Ellie De La Cruz, obviously. Tyler Stevenson, you like him more against lefties, but I'm okay with Tyler Stevenson here. Spencer Steer, Will Benson, those are the top ones. Value picks here. Jake Fraley would be a value pick for me. Not saying he's going to do anything, but he's a cheap option that not very many people talk about. Probably Luke Maile doesn't play. I doubt he plays. You could look at Stuart Fairchild. A lot of blue here. He would be a punt play, tournament play because he is going to be so cheap. So I will have exposure to Gallen in tournaments. I don't think I'm going to have any exposure to Montas. Now, running simulations, maybe our model sees something that I'm not seeing at the moment. And that is what I think differentiates myself from other people. If I am wrong, I'm not going to delete comments. I'm not going to delete this video. I'm not going to turn comments off. I'm not Vegas Dave. I don't hit 100% of the time. I am wrong. I will let you know when I'm wrong. If you ever see me turn comments off here, Twitter, Instagram, which I don't really do Instagram much anymore, if you see an account that is sports betting or DFS and they turn comments off and all the comments that you do see or limited comments, this guy made me millions, blah, 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 blah. Not millions, but you know what I'm talking about. If comments are ever turned off, go away. Go very far away. So my thoughts, I won't use Montas at all. I can see both sides because of this ballpark. We'll just have to wait for the weather to see how the weather's going to be closer to game time. And Zach Gallen, he is a stud. He struggled a little bit this year. Tournament only for me today. Angels at the Pirates, you got Patrick Sandoval versus Quinn Priester. Sandoval, 11 plate appearances, 222 batting average. Priester's never faced them before. If you've been with our channel for a while, you know that I don't mind looking at players that have, never seen the opposing team before, because they don't know what to go off of other than video or scouting reports. So it's always something you can look at. The problem is Quinn Priester. We've used him a couple times this year, and we've been let down a little bit. He is coming off a pretty good game. The problem is the strikeouts are very low for him. His last 3 starts, 2 quality starts. He's gone 6 innings, both of those. Did not get the win in any of those. My problem is, again, the strikeouts are kind of low. So I'm probably looking at bats in this game, especially in this early slate. I'm probably just focusing on the bats and not really focusing in on looking at the pitchers. I don't think so anyway. So bats-wise, if you're not using either pitcher, obviously Willie Calhoun would be a very huge tournament option if he's in there. But Taylor Ward is one. Logan O'Hoppe, I believe, is day-to-day. So that's something to pay attention to. Joe Adell has come on strong. If he's not getting hits or home runs and he does get on base, he can steal bases for you. He makes a little bit of sense. Luis Rengifo makes a little bit of sense as well. You want to go even lower, Brandon Drury, Mickey Moniak, or Nolan Schanuel. I don't mind those guys either. Pirate side, if you think they're going to do well against Patrick Sandoval, who, 11 plate appearances is not much at all. O'Neal Cruz, Andrew McCutchen, Rowdy Tellez, I don't mind. Ke'Bryan Hayes, I'm okay with. Michael Taylor usually hits lefties very well. He would be a cheap option there. Connor Joe's kind of the same thing. Normally can square up a ball against a lefty a little bit better than righties. And if you want to see more of these, you can go to the MLB tab and go to batter splits, and you can see all of the batters this year that have done well against lefties or righties, and that breaks it down. That's another tool for your tool belt to make you a better DFS player in the long run. So that's kind of my thought there. Probably won't have exposure to those pitchers. We've got the Blue Jays at the Phillies. You got Jose Barrios versus Chris Sanchez. Barrios, 94 plate appearances, 326. Christopher Sanchez has never faced them before. Barrios has been good this year. So we can kind of look. We used him, I believe we've used him every start, at least in there. I mean, he's doing really well. Faced Kansas City his last 2 starts. The one was cut short due to rain, and then the second one, he didn't really strike very many people out. That's the problem. Like, he's not striking out a ton. That makes us like a K per 9 of 3.86 against that last one. Now he's going up against Philly, who has had success. Let's dig in a little bit. So this is what I'm talking about. So when you see these numbers, if you go off Baseball Savant and you just go off numbers and that's it, that is where I kind of wanted to help you. Like, I want you to laser focus on different things. I want you to be able to see what I'm talking about. So if you peruse this, 94 plate appearances, 326 batting average, 13.8 K percentage. Oh, that's high. Let's not go with him. But dig it in there. Whit Merrifield, 51 of those 94 are Whit Merrifield. He's batting 354 against him. 17 for 48 with 5 doubles, a triple, and a home run, and only 3 strikeouts. Nick Castellanos, 7 for 19 with a home run. Right there's 354 and 368. Other than that, the numbers are skewed. He has looked way better than those numbers. Outside of those, Nick Castellanos has looked bad this year. Whit Merrifield doesn't even play half the games. He might be in there, could be a cheap option, but I don't mind Barrios here at all. I know it's Philly. They're really good at hitting baseballs. I understand that. The Philly bats, I will have exposure to Barrios. Cash tournament, I'll have both. If you're looking at these bats for Philly, Schwarber really hasn't done much. 0 for 5, so hasn't seen him much. Bryce Harper's 0 for 2. Alec Boehm isn't even on this list. Alec Boehm's one of the best third basemen in the game right now. He's hot hitting this year. So if you are not going with, and Trey Turner's out of this lineup right now, so they're missing some speed. Outside of Castellanos and Whit Merrifield, Barrios could have a field day here. If you think he's gonna get hit hard, Philly bats, Schwarber. Tournaments. Schwarber's boomer bust. It's a home run or nothing really out of him. So he's not the best option for DFS. Bryce Harper, only 0 for 2. Alec Boehm makes sense. Like, those are the bats that make sense. Whit Merrifield, if he's in, would be a cheaper option. I'm going to be with Barrios here. Christopher Sanchez has never faced Blue Jays before. The Blue Jays have been up or down. Sunday, we went with a Blue Jay stack in almost every lineup, and it actually paid off. If I'm not going with Sanchez and I'm going with Blue Jay bats, I would be looking at Vlad. I would be looking at George Springer. I would be looking at Kevin Biggio, cheap option. Just depending, like Bo Bichette, maybe a little bit. He's normally good against lefties. That's my thought in this game. Don't let the outer core, don't read the book by its cover. You got to get into that book there, because if you read it there, you would say, oh, he's been dominated. The majority of his plate appearances, 2 guys. So that is my thought here. Hopefully that opened your eyes a little bit here. Baltimore versus Nationals. Corbin Burnes versus Trevor Williams. Corbin Burnes is the picture of the video and the article for a reason. Absolutely love him. He is a stud. He dominates when he goes out on the mound. That is what I'm looking at here. He's got a great matchup against Washington. Now, we've had great matchups against Washington, and they've hit before. I'm in on Corbin Burnes. I don't want anything to do with Nats bats. I will look at Burnes. I would look at Orioles bats. Westberg, Rushman. Santander would be a cheaper option, depending. Colton Cowser has cooled off. That is true. You got Adley, like I said. I would be looking at Cedric Mullins would be another one. I am looking at Orioles bats. I am looking at Corbin Burnes. I want nothing to do with the Nationals, and I won't have any exposure. If I have any exposure to Williams, it's if I make like 50 lineups, and it's if I put him in there once, because you got to have, low-owned guys to take down a tournament if he has a good game. So that is my thought in this game. The majority of everything I'm going to be doing will be Burnes and Orioles bats over Trevor Williams and Nats bats. Then the final game on this early slate, White Sox at the Rays, Michael Soroka versus Zach Eflin. So Soroka, he looked good with the Braves. He got injured. We came back, didn't look good, let him go, or traded him, I can't remember. Now he's on the White Sox. The White Sox are historically bad this year. Zach Eflin, 78 plate appearances, 270. I will have exposure to Zach Eflin. I just wish the K per 9 was a little bit higher than it is. No bats jump out to me on this game at the moment. So if I were to look, it would honestly probably just be Eflin as SP1 or SP2 against a bad White Sox team. And that's it for this early slate. So we are going to jump into the main slate now. We've got the terrible Astros versus the New York Yankees. We've got Justin Verlander versus Luis Gil. Verlander, 146 plate appearances, 163 batting average against this team. Gil has never faced the Astros before. So if we look at that, we can look at Verlander. He is still $9,000. Comes in, it's got a 2.08 ERA. Not really much going on against Cleveland. Did go 7 innings there, only 2 strikeouts. Did end up getting a loss. He has 1 win on the year, and that was against the Nationals, which you're supposed to beat them. That's the game plan. Every time you play the Nationals, the Athletics, or the White Sox, that's what you're supposed to do. Mixed results. I mean, it just depends. The Astros offense has not shown up to give him run support as much, except against that Washington team back on April 19th. So this will be his 4th start of the year. It's in New York. He's 45 years old. He's had success. Tournaments, I'm okay with Verlander. Cash, I could see him getting lit up. Now, the Yankees have been striking out a ton. They struck out 12 or 13 times against Tariq Skubal on Sunday, but still pulled out the win. Had the off day. Everyone should be in this lineup. Rizzo had the day off. Rizzo's been hitting well. I would be looking at Yankees bats in this one for the majority. I will have Verlander in tournaments, a couple of lineups, just because he has been so good against them. I don't see how you can't take him, at least one lineup, but I do like the Yankees bats. I would look at Judge, who's been heating up lately. As long as he doesn't get terrible strike calls on him, he has a chance. Juan Soto's everything the Yankees have asked for and more. Juan Soto's in that lineup for me. Volpe's kind of slowed down a little bit. Stanton, I would look at. So Volpe, maybe tournaments only. Rizzo has been heating up. Verdugo has been amazing. Oswaldo Cabrera is amazing too. So those are like Trevino or Austin Wells, depending on who's pitching or who's catching for them. I could see both of those being good options as well. Oswaldo, have they even pumped his? Yeah, it's still 3,600. He's still cheap, relatively cheap. You got Luis Heel, 8,300. He's got a 3.19 ERA. I believe that's one bad start right here against Milwaukee. 5 innings, 5 earned runs, 6 Ks. He's still getting at least 5 strikeouts a game. He has not faced the Astros this year. He did not play in the first 4 games of the series to start the year when the Yankees swept them. Now they come to New York. The Astros have I don't know what's going on. They've looked really bad. So I love Heel, 8,300. A balanced lineup is usually 2 pitchers under 9K, and then building a stack around them. I don't mind Heel as one of my pitchers. I don't mind the Yankees as a stack here. If you think the Astros are going to come out of whatever funk they're in, Yordan, Kyle Tucker, Jose Altuve in this, Jeremy Pena is probably the ones I'd look at. I don't really trust the other ones at the moment. Again, I could be surprised, but my thought process, Verlander's tournaments, I think Heel is cash or tournament, and I'd look at the Yankees bats more than I look at the Astros bats today. Red Sox at the Braves, you got Cutter Crawford versus Reynaldo Lopez. Crawford, 1 plate appearance, but we know, or if you don't know, Crawford's been amazing this year. And then Reynaldo Lopez, 19 plate appearances, 294. He's actually been really good too, which is wild. And you come up here, Crawford, and Reynaldo Lopez is 9,700. He's more than Verlander. If you'd have told me this at the beginning of the season, I wouldn't have believed you. But Cutter Crawford comes in, 1.56 ERA, 40 strikeouts. Averaging right around 6 strikeouts a game. Had a really good game against San Francisco, going deep into games too. He should be under-owned against this Atlanta team because I think people are going to be on Atlanta. Didn't have a really good game against Chicago, his worst game of the year. Other than that, he did well against San Francisco, did well against Cleveland, did well against Baltimore, did well against Seattle. He's had success. I don't mind him at all. And then what surprises me is Reynaldo Lopez. Coming off not the best start of his career or best start of the year. Only 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 7 Ks, 2 walks. So the earned runs and the 2 walks are really what brought his fantasy points down. He's still averaging 21.9 on DraftKings. I don't mind Reynaldo Lopez because as good as Boston's pitching has been, their offense has been worse outside of Tyler O'Neill, Devers, Rafaela. I kind of like pitching him this game. If you feel like, the pitching's not going to be the best and you do want to go off of just the bats and you want to look at what bats to go off of, that's okay too. We can see the bats on both sides. I think more than likely it's probably going to be a pitcher's duel, but I could be wrong. I have been wrong in the past a couple of times. Just ask my wife. So, like I said, Devers, O'Neill, Jarren Duran, Connor Wong, I guess, if you're going Boston bats, depending on the lineup that comes out. Braves bats, if you think Crawford's going to finally have a game where he's just not doing well. Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, Michael Harris, Ronald Acuna Jr., who's not hitting a ton of home runs, but still stacking the stat sheet there. Those are ones. Travis d'Arnaud, a superstar out of nowhere. Ozzie Albies is another one. I'm most likely going to focus on pitching more so than bats in this game, though. Moving to the next game, Padres at the Cubs. Amanaga versus to be announced right now because they had an injury. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Joe Musgrove's spot, but he's on the IL, so we've had a ton of pitching injuries this year, which has been wild. Amanaga has been amazing this year. So if we look at him, somehow he's not... where is he? Am I missing him? Oh, he's at the top. 10,300, 0.78 ERA still, 5-0 record, 35 strikeouts. The Mets in Citi Field, 7 innings, no earned runs, 7 Ks. 7 Ks against Boston. 5 Ks against Miami. And we look at this. Splits, home and away. 3 games home, 3 games away. Pitching at home, a little bit worse ERA. Depends on how the weather's going. But if the wind is not blowing out in this game, I still love Amanaga here. Padres historically hit lefties better. I still got to go with my man who's under 1 ERA. Or 1 ERA. I mean, he's been consistently the best pitcher in baseball this year, bar none. So I would look at Amanaga here. Don't overthink it. Again, he is expensive, though. That's the problem. I would like this game if it were more in San Diego, but yeah. If you think somehow he doesn't bring his A game, and you think that whoever the pitcher for the Padres isn't going to bring their A game. Cubs bats. Chris Morel has been an absolute stud all year. I think he is batting. He's only batting .220, but he's got 7 home runs, got a lot of RBIs, 4 straight. You can just see the positive fantasy points, double digits, a ton of games. He would be one that I'd look at. Dansby Swanson's another one. Michael Busch, Nico Horner. Cheaper options would be Tauchman or Pete Crow Armstrong if he's in there. If you think for whatever reason Amanaga is going to slip up and this is going to be his first slip up game, Machado and Tatis both hit lefties well. Donovan Solano would be a cheap option. Jerks and Profar would be a cheap option. Higashioka historically has hit lefties well, but strikes out a ton as well. Luis Arraez, new surroundings for him. Ha-Seong Kim would be another one, but I love me some Amanaga in this lineup. Then we get down to the Mariners at the Twins here. Emerson Hancock versus Bailey Ober. Hancock obviously has never faced the Twins before, and then Ober 26 plate appearances, 231. So basically a one start against them, the one total start. So we look into here. You got Emerson Hancock's going to be down here, 6,200. So he is cheap. And the Twins are without their stud Byron Buxton, who's hurt all the time. 4.75 ERA. The strikeouts are very low, basically 4 a game there. Now he's facing Minnesota that he's never faced before. Pitching away in 2 games away, he's got an 8.68 ERA, so he's not the best on the road. It's only 2 games, I get that. I would probably just stay away from him. Bailey Ober, on the other hand, also 4.55 ERA. Not faced Seattle this year. Pitching at home, does have a better ERA at home, 1.64 in 2 starts. I don't mind him. The Seattle offense has been very inconsistent this year. So looking at that, that's kind of where I would look at. Looking at the bats in this game. If you think Bailey Ober's not going to have a good game, the Seattle bats that I would focus on in this one, Cal Raleigh, big dumper, love him here. J-Rod, Ty France, Dylan Moore would be a cheaper one. Josh Rojas is a cheaper one. Jorge Polanco would be one. Mitch Garver I usually like to take against lefties. Same thing with Mitch Haniger. Those are 2 that I like to focus on against lefties more than righties. Twins, on the other hand, if you don't think Emerson Hancock's going to do well, which I personally don't think, Kirilloff, Trevor Larnach, Carlos Santana, Max Kepler. You could look at them. You could look at Willie Castro. A cheaper option would be Austin Martin if he's in there. Jose Miranda is a cheaper option. And if he plays, Ryan Jeffers, usually like to take him against lefties, but Ryan Jeffers could be a cheaper catching option on this slate. That's that game. We dig in here. It's a Pitcher's Park. We got Brewers versus the Royals. Colin Ray versus Seth Lugo. I don't trust Colin Ray. Seth Lugo has been amazing this year. Against the Brewers, 38 plate appearances, 189 batting average. He's up here in price. No, he's actually in the middle. 7,200, 1.6 ERA. The problem is the strikeouts are kind of low. The pitches are 99 to 100, so as long as he's healthy, he's been good. Against Toronto on May 1st, 1 earned run in 7 innings, 8 Ks. Against Detroit, 7 innings, 9 Ks. He has been great. Now he pitches at home. At home, it is a Pitcher's Park, by the way. 2.63 ERA. He has actually been better on the road, but honestly, I love Seth Lugo here. I probably won't have any of the Brewers bats. The Royals bat. Colin Ray, we look at Colin Ray. 6,700, 2.67 ERA. He's actually not been too bad. 23.9 against Tampa Bay, only 7.3 against the Yankees. Pretty good against the other ones. We look at splits, away games, 2.30 ERA. So I think he could be a sneaky option because I think a lot of people are going to be on Kansas City because they've been so good this year. I think we could take advantage of that. If you don't think either of these, we could look at both sides. So, if we want to look at the bats on both sides because you don't trust pitching for whatever reason, which I will probably have exposure to both. I think Colin Ray is more of your tournament. I think Seth Lugo is more of your cash. But again, William Contreras has been one of the best hitting catchers for the past couple of seasons. He would be one. A cheap option that I don't know if he's going to play would be Jake Bauers at first base against a righty. Willie Adames makes sense. Rhys Hoskins, love Rhys Hoskins normally against lefties, though. I don't know if he'll play. It just depends. Jake Bauers could be a sneaky GPP pick today. That's kind of the ones that I would look at. Maybe a little bit of Blake Perkins in the outfield or Bryce Terang at second. Kansas City, if you think Colin Ray's not going to do well, Bobby Witt Jr. obviously is at the top. Sal Perez is hitting 700. Vinny Pasquantino would make sense. Michael Massey. Maybe Michael Garcia or MJ Melendez, but I'd stick with Witt, Perez, Pasquantino, and maybe even Michael Massey if I'm going that direction. But I could see both of these pitchers having good games. That's kind of my thought process in this one. Then we got the Mets at the Cardinals. Jose versus Miles Mikolas. So Jose is 8,000, comes in 2.57 ERA. It's been pretty good. Faced St. Louis. So we're finally getting to see some of these guys that have faced this team prior. Faced St. Louis 2 starts ago at home. 5.2 innings, 4 earned runs, and that is a pitcher's park. Did not have success against them. It was his worst outing of the year. Yeah, he did not do well. 6.35 ERA. That's kind of my thought. I'm not going to use him at all. I would rather look at St. Louis bats. And then we look at Miles Mikolas down here at 6,000, 5.68 ERA. 3 earned runs against Detroit, 4 Ks. Against the Mets team, actually had his best start of the year against this Mets team, but that was in a pitcher's park. Now it's a new ballpark. Tournaments, I'm okay with Mikolas because he has had success against them this year. But again, that was a pitcher's park. That is a massive park. I think we'd rather focus on the bats here more than pitching. I won't have exposure to the pitching. I promise you that. So the ones we are looking at would be Brandon Nimmo against Mikolas, Starling Marte, DJ Stewart, Francisco Lindor. Those are the big names. Finding the value, maybe Brett Beatty, maybe Tyrone Taylor, maybe Thomas Nido if he's in there catching today. Flip side of that, the Cardinals, Lars Nootbaar, Goldschmidt, Burleson, Donovan, Wilson Contreras, or Ivan Herrera, depending if one is in and one is out. Those are the ones I'd look at. You pay up a little bit for Nolan Arenado as well. So in my thought process, Mikolas in tournaments, like one lineup, because he's had success against them. I do not trust either of these pitchers, though. I would rather go the bats. Giants at the Rockies. Usually you don't want to take a pitcher in Coors, but usually they are priced down because it is in Coors. And you've got... okay, so it looks like Randy Vasquez will be pitching for San Diego for the Chicago against the Cubs. Because he got recalled due to Joe Musgrove. So that's probably who's pitching. I would probably look at the Cubs bats then. But in this game, Kyle Harrison, 6,400, 3.79 ERA. Splits-wise has not faced Colorado this year. Away games, 409. Tournaments, I'm okay with Kyle Harrison because Colorado is so bad. But if you're looking at this, I think I'd rather just focus on the bats here. They're going to be expensive, though. That's the problem with Colorado. The bats are expensive against Colorado. San Francisco bats against Dakota Hudson, Matt Chapman, Jung-Ho Lee, Conforto, Lamont Wade Jr. I love Lamont Wade Jr. today. Jorge Soler in this ballpark, Mike Yastrzemski, I don't mind. Colorado bats, honestly, it's Ryan McMahon, and that's it if I'm taking any of them. They could have a good game. You could look at Hunter Goodman. You could look at Jordan Beck. You could look at Jacob Stallings, but I'm not going to. I don't know if I'll even play this game, but I'd rather side with San Francisco than Colorado bats for sure. I don't think that's a question. Then the final game, you got Edward Cabrera versus Yamamoto. Cabrera down here at the bottom, or towards the bottom. No, he's not. He's actually in the middle, 8,700 against this team. Splitswise has not faced the Dodgers this year. 6.05 ERA, 1-1 record. Does have 30 strikeouts, though. 9 against Colorado, 10 against San Francisco. Tournaments, I'm okay with Edward Cabrera, but his price is up there, considering who he's facing. And then you got Yamamoto. 2.91 ERA, 42 Ks. You know, a good game against Arizona. You're supposed to have a good game against Arizona. He's had really good games lately. Struggled a little bit to start the season. That is documented in the South Korea series. But we look at this. He is pitching at home where he does have a 5.82 ERA. I think they were considered the home team in South Korea, so that's skewed. That's not in this ballpark. Love me Yamamoto here, 10,100. The two guys that are big offseason acquisitions, they're very expensive. I'd rather focus on the Dodgers bats and Yamamoto than I would Edward Cabrera or the Marlins. So Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Freddie Freeman, Andy Pages would be one I'd look at. Will Smith, another one. I mean, there's a ton of the Dodgers bats that you could look at. So that's my thought process. Those are all of the games. We've covered all of the 14 games that we possibly can. We even kind of talked about the first one that you can't play unless you're playing a showdown. Now, again, we're looking at the top 20 bats after 10,000 simulations. Some of these might surprise you, some of these might not. We've covered most of them. And if they do surprise you, let us know which ones surprised you the most. Now, these are not finalized. These are just simulations after 10,000. But number 1, Ellie De La Cruz at home. Not a bad choice. Number 2 is C.J. Abrams. Number 3 is Gunnar Henderson. Number 4 is Bobby Witt Jr. Number 5 is Ketel Marte. 6 is Brian Reynolds. 7 is Austin Slater. 8, Ryan O'Hearn, who's looked really good since being on Baltimore. 9, Christian Walker. 10, Trey Turner. Nope, sorry. 10 is Will Benson. 11 is Spencer Steer. 12 is Mookie Betts. 13, Riley Green. 14, Tyro Estrada. 15, Jose Ramirez. 16, Jose Altuve. 17, Michael Garcia. 18, Jorge Soler. 19, Tom Murphy. And number 20, as of right now, Aaron Judge versus Verlander. And I do believe he has a ton of strikeouts against Verlander, but he has 3 home runs against him as well. So those are the top 20 bats after 10,000 simulations. We will have these updated on the website to 20,000 simulations a couple of hours before the slate locks for the night, for the main slate. So again, let's get this video to 200 likes. If you're still watching, leave a comment saying you're still watching. Get this video a ton of comments. The more comments the video has, the better chance you have to hit the daily giveaway every single day. Good luck on this slate. And as always, let's bring up some bacon today, guys. Peace!